Hi, folks. This is Dedrick, Allan, MasonWebTV, powered by HCC. Well, the football season came to an end last Saturday when the Shelton High Climbers lost at Washougal, 38-34. That ended the High Climbers season, but I did have one last phone conversation with Shelton coach Mark Smith. That occurred Thursday morning.
Like to be playing this week, but you're not. But I got to tell you, guys left everything out on the field for Saturday in Washougal.
Yeah, these kids had quite a journey this year. We had, if you go back, it's still kind of crazy to think that it hasn't even been 2 years yet. It's 2 full calendar years, because if you think about it, we didn't play football in the calendar year of 2020.
Right.
Right? Yeah. So all of 2020, there was no football play. We didn't start until February of 21 with games. And so March or February of 23 will be 2 years of playing games. So we've had 3 seasons here in sort of 2 years, which is kind of crazy when you really think about it. And, the progress that our program has made, I'm very proud with. And a lot of that has to do with this senior class and how they persevered under some adverse conditions and let their true character get revealed during adversity there on the final weekend of their high school football career. You can't make this stuff up, right? You got trees falling in front of buses, power lines coming down, 2 blown tires, stuck on the side of the freeway, right? Come back, all right, let's get in the bus and do it all over again the next day, right? Game canceled, right? And for our kids to not miss a beat, really, and go out, and I think they played and executed as well as we ever have on offense. And I think they played as hard as they possibly could in all 3 aspects of the game. And I thought special teams really did a great job in everything that we asked them to do. You think about it offensively, and we ran the ball and threw the ball very, very effectively all night. Our quarterback, I think, was 22 of 29 for 240 some yards.
Mm-hmm.
We rushed the ball for 260 yards, 270 yards. Brad Ellington, what a storied high school career to go out with. He had 22 carries for 167 yards, 4 touchdowns rushing, 1 catch for 14 yards, and a touchdown receiving, 11 tackles on defense, and 1 block punt. And you can't ask for a better way to go out as a young man, except for finding a way to get that victory. And for those seniors, it was heartbreaking for them, but at the same time, it was a different set of emotions that I witnessed. We have our senior testimony on Monday following the last game that we play, and our kids seem to be at peace. Our kids seem to be that they understood that they moved the program in the right direction. They took another step that we haven't taken in a long time, and they're leaving it in a better place than where they found it. And I think those are all important things that, no matter where, we talk about life lessons learned all the time in athletics. And I think these kids have really bought in, and they're going to be able to take some of these things with them for the rest of their life.
You mentioned Brad Ellington and how he played on Saturday, and I specifically remember him dragging about 4 guys 15, 20 yards one of his first runs.
Yeah.
That was quite a feat. Any comments on that particular play, if you can remember that one?
Yeah, I definitely remember it. You know, it kind of sets the tone. Brad, we have these different levels of what we call TAP scores in our program, and we've been doing them since I got here, and I've been doing them for the last, I'd say 15 years as a coach. And what the TAP score stands for is total athletic performance. And it's a rating of, you take the kids' max bench, max squat, max clean, 10-yard start time, 40-yard sprint time, vertical jump, and pro agility. And you take all those scores, and there's a formula out there. You plug them into it. It gives you X amount of points. And we have an iron climber, which is our top. That's in the 90th percentile or above of all the kids in the United States that received a full ride scholarship out of high school, scored in those categories. And then 80% is our black climber, and then 70% is our red climber, and then 60% is our white climber. And Brad Ellington is the only one on this year's team, and the only one since I've been here that has gotten the iron climber award. So he not only is he a very good athlete, but he's very, very explosive, and he's very, very strong. And so, you know, hats off to him in that deal. But, you know, we had a lot of, you know, we got some 4-year starters in there that just played their tails off this year. You know, you got kids like Logan West,
right?
You know, that have been a 3-year starter since I've been here, but been a 4-year letter winner. You know, Brad Tiller, another one's a 4-year letter winner and been a 3-year starter for us. You know, and so, you know, Mason Goose, you know, obviously, you know, and we set some more career records too. I mean, most receptions ever in the career of any wide receiver in Shelton football history is now Dante Trikoff with 99. He broke Scott River's record of 91 receptions. Brad Ellington is now the single season career record holder for tackles in a season with 109. And he also broke the, let me make sure I get these right here. I got my data. Yeah, 109 for Brad. And then most career tackles is Brad Ellington now with 226. And then obviously we had Hunter left earlier in the year with most tackles in a game.
Right.
So, you know, those are individual things that are nice. You know, I think if you talk to any one of those kids, they'd rather take the win over the record. But, you know, it's what's going on in that weight room, and it's what's going on with the execution, the coaching, and the time that's putting in by these kids that are allowing some of these things to happen. And that's a good sign. You know, that's an encouraging thing, you know, that we have some kids that are making plays and being productive, not just in the season, but, you know, in the career of Shelton football, which, you know, is kind of impressive.
So let's talk about the future of Shelton football. Do you want to talk about the future of Shelton football? What do you have coming in next year?
Yeah, you know, obviously we are losing we're losing 16 seniors that are going to be very, very tough to replace. But, you know, the good programs reload, right? I mean, people lose them all the time. And the big difference, you know, between some places is they can reload with people from all over the place.
Right.
Right. We reload with, you know, the kids that are currently in our program for the most part. So, you know, it's like, how far can we move people? So, like, people are always in education, the academic sector is talking about how do we take these C kids and move them to B kids? How do we take these B kids and move them to A kids? How do we take these kids that are failing and move them to passing? How do you move kids? Well, it's the same thing in athletics, all right? So how do we take kids and move them? How do we take the freshmen, and how far can we move them? Can we take a freshman that's pretty talented, and can we move them far enough to be able to compete at the varsity level? Well, we did that with Hunter Left this year. He was a freshman last year. He was a sophomore. And, he worked his tail off, and we got him coached up well enough, and he moved himself into a starting spot and produced at a high level. So the question becomes, how many of these freshman kids can we move up? How many of these JV kids can we move up to get ready to the varsity level? And that time's only going to tell there. Now, the good news is our numbers are pretty good. We got another senior class that, has good numbers in it coming in. So our junior class, it's going to be seniors next year. If I just go on my board here, we got about 20, 20 or so juniors that are going to be seniors next year. They all come back, if not a little bit more. So we're going to have good numbers there. Some of them got some experience. You got Gabe Menifee, who's going to be a good receiver. You got Jaden Fuller, who's going to be a good running back for us. We got Hunter Left, who's going to be a good linebacker for us. We got Gabe Cooley, who's going to be a good defensive lineman for us. We got a lot of that secondary back, and Cam Hysings, at corner. We got Anthony Sancelli back to anchor that offensive line. J.J. Miller will be back into offense, offensive lineman. So the big question is, who's going to emerge at quarterback, right? What's that position going to look like? And who's going to be willing to compete and take the risk of leadership, right? Because a lot of people just think quarterback, that's a really good athlete. He can throw it, he can run it, he can do that type of stuff. But there's a bigger part to that, and that's the 6 inches between both ears. It's the leadership piece, because there's a lot of scrutiny that goes on in that position, and there's a lot of people that can't handle it and get really frustrated when things don't go right, and there's so many moving parts, and your whole line is not going to be perfect every single snap, and your wide receivers aren't going to be perfect every single snap, and you're not going to be perfect every single snap. And so there's going to be adversity that sets in, and so we have to make sure we get the right person in there. And we got to find a center, right? I mean, Logan West is taking every snap in every varsity game, every meaningful snap for the last 3 years. Right. And so kind of hard to start a play when you lose that. So we got a lot of work to do, but we're going to take a little bit of time here, and let everybody decompress, and because we work these kids hard, we say grind the axe. We grind now, some of these kids, I think there was a little spot there in October where, they kind of got a little worn out, and we had to look at what we were doing and talk about some things and find a way to get these kids refocused, because, we start in June, and went until November, whatever it was, 6th, and sure, there's some days off in there and some weeks off and stuff like that, but that's a long time. Right. And here's the other thing I'm really proud of these kids, Dedrick, is, we scrimmaged Olympic in the summer. Mm-hmm. Well, they're playing tomorrow. Right. They're in the final 16. We went and did a jamboree against North Kitsap, and they're the number 3 seed, I believe, and they're playing tomorrow. Right. And we played 5 other opponents that are playing tomorrow. We played Tumwater, we played Chehalis, we played Washougal, we played Black Hills, and we played Monty. So we got 7 teams that we played with against. And what I'm saying there is, what I'm proud of these kids is, we don't have one kid on crutches from this year. We don't have one kid in a sling. We don't have one kid in a cast. And we had no athletic trainer. I want you to think about that for a second. These are some tough kids and they did a lot of things. But that's one thing I'm really proud of is their toughness. The second thing is we did not miss one kid because of grades this year on the varsity level. So I'm really proud about how they handled their business in the classroom. And the other thing is I heard a lot of positive things around the school and off the field that I'm really proud of these kids on. Because at the end of the day, there's going to be one team left standing holding up the gold ball, and everybody else is going to end their season on a loss. Right. So sometimes we got to keep things in perspective a little bit and understand what a positive season this is, and for our kids to walk away healthy, with a sense of accomplishment. I think it's been a positive year.
Coach, I think we'll end it on that one. I thought your team did a great job Saturday, all season long. Both Jerry and I were very impressed with how they handled everything with poise and composure.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I'm really proud of our kids and the way they trained and the way they took care of their bodies. And, there's a lot of things a lot of people don't know about. We feed these kids protein every single day.
Yeah.
Gatorade protein bars, Gatorade protein drinks. The boosters, our community, helps us, supports us, and we return give that back to our kids. So our kids' bodies are staying in good shape. Our food department, any food that they have left over, they send it to the locker room and we feed our kids. Our weight room that this community supported with their money and their tax dollars, we are using every morning. First period, our kids are in there training and lifting, right? We have a safe field in that turf field that doesn't have grooves in it, doesn't have bumps and wiggles, right, that we get to practice on every day that helps keep our kids safe. And that doesn't mean you can't get hurt on the turf field. You can, but you can get hurt on a bumpy, uneven, slippery, muddy field a lot easier.
Right.
And so all those things go into play into what's going on there. And I think that's really important for people to understand why that is.
Those are the final thoughts from Shelton football coach Mark Smith as the 2022 season came to an end last Saturday with a loss at Washougal. And that'll do it for our football coverage for the 2022 season. My thanks to Jerry Apple for his help with the broadcast as well as his statistics throughout the season, and Cheryl Williams for her unique perspective early on. My name is Dedrick Allan. We will talk to you in basketball season, which starts later this month. For MasonWebTV, powered by HCC. Again, my name is Dedrick Allan. Thanks for checking us out.